Hey everybody, it's Lindsay and I am back today with another Let's Make a Card video. And I'm going to be making a Halloween card, if you can believe that it's that late in the year already. I'm going to be using this 2 Paper Diva stamp set. It's called Spell on Me. However, the great thing about this stamp set is it could also be switched up and used for a love card or a Valentine's Day card because they've thrown in some extra images and sentiments that really work for both holidays. So you're getting 2 holidays out of 1 stamp set. So I am starting off with a piece of just plain white cardstock, and it measures 4 inches by 4 inches, and I'm just using my T-square ruler to put a nice pencil mark right down at the bottom there so I can line up these stamps whenever I stamp them. You'll see much later on towards the end of the video when I flip this card over to put it together. I tried to stamp these without a pencil mark as a guideline and they just went completely downhill. So I learned my lesson the first time. Put a pencil mark down. It saves you a little bit of time in the long run. So I'm just going to go ahead and start stamping some of these bottle images. I started out with a little bubbling flask, I guess are what they are called, and I stamped that right in the middle. I stamped the bottle with the bat, which is the tallest bottle, off to the left of that, and then I stamped the very smallest bottle on the right hand side. And then I went ahead and masked these all off. I had cut some masks from Inkadoo masking paper. These are very small images, so really quick to cut out. Then I went ahead and stamped that little skull bottle right there between the flask and the very smallest flask, and I'm going to go ahead and mask him off as well. I'm going to end up masking all of these off because I'm going to do some distressing blending for my background. Now this other little smaller flask I'm going to stamp right in the middle of the bat and the larger bubbling flask, and I will mask it off as well. So I need to go ahead and mask off the bottom portion of this where I made that pencil line. So I'm just using some painter's tape. I'll line that right up, and I'm just taping it down to a hardboard as I go ahead and mask off the bottom of the card. I'm using some tumbled glass distress ink and my mini ink blending tool, and I am very lightly just sponging this on around the top of the bottles. This is going to create a very quick background for me instead of going in and coloring, and it just allows me to use 2 different mediums on 1 card. I'll go ahead and use alcohol markers to color in all of the bottles, but this is just a nice, quick, easy way to get a background, and it's so much quicker than coloring. So I'll just go ahead and finish sponging on this distress ink. You want to start with the light hand and really build up this color. Since I am working on regular plain cardstock, if I make any mistakes, it's going to show and it's not going to move as easily. So now that I have my blue down, I'm going to go ahead and peel up this painter's tape. Try and do the best job you can. You can see I have a few spots that it peeled up on the white cardstock. I didn't de-tack my painter's tape as well as I should have, but it's okay. It does build up a little bit of the color there, but it's not enough to throw out this panel. So I'll go ahead and end up peeling this up, and then I will move this to the top. So where you have that nice blue definitive line, you're going to go ahead and line up your painter's tape with that, and then you'll go ahead and mask the top part of the card off now. I'll go ahead and put 2 pieces of painter's tape down, and I am keeping this on the hardboard. It just gives me a nice smooth surface to work on with my distress inks. And I will end up bringing a piece of paper in to just go ahead and mask off the very top of that panel as well, so I don't get any black distress ink on it. So I'm using black soot distress ink for the bottom portion of my panel, and very, very, very lightly I'm going to start sponging this on. This is the darkest color of distress ink, so you really want to use a light hand and build up the color. And you will see in the right hand side where that painter's tape pulled up a bit of the cardstock, you will see that it builds up there a little bit more. But it's a Halloween card, it gives it a crack look. I didn't mind it. So once I have that distress ink all blended out, I'll go ahead and peel the painter's tape up on the entire card, and I will also peel up those masks for the bottle. You will see once I start to pull up this painter's tape and the masks how well of a job this masking paper does in protecting those bottles underneath it. I have a nice clean white surface to color on now, and I don't have any distressing to worry about. This really did an awesome job of really keeping that nice and clean. You can see I didn't worry about those teeny tiny little dots above that flask. They'll color in easily enough, and it wasn't enough to worry about masking off. So to keep with the Halloween theme of this card, I'm going to be using some very Halloweenish colors. I'm starting out with a lime green for that bubbling flask, and then some gray just to give that bottle a little bit of depth. And all those bubbles, I will go ahead and just give them a little dot of green as well. For my next little flask here with some liquid in it, I'm going to do some purple liquid. So I'm using 2 different purple markers here for some shading, and then I will use some gray on that bottle. I will end up using gray on that bottle, and also I'm carrying colors across this card. So I used the purple on the right hand side for that flask. So on the left hand side with the bat bottle, I'm going to go ahead and color in the label purple as well. Now for the bottle itself, I'm going to go ahead and color it in orange. So I'm using, it's a really dark yellow color. I don't have 2 oranges in my marker set, so I just use a very dark yellow, and it gives a nice shading for the bottle. And I will also carry that orange across the card. You'll see right here with this skull bottle. I'm just going to go ahead and color in the label of that orange, and I'm going to keep the skull just plain white. Now for the bottle, I'm going to go ahead and color it in a very dark gray. And then you can see I just added a little bit of gray and white to that flask on the right hand side to give it a little bit of depth. For the corks, I'm using 1 color of brown, and I will color them all in the same color. And then for that final bottle, I'm going to give it a nice shading of gray, and that just gives it a little bit of an antique look. And that will really finish off the coloring for this card. I'll give you a nice close-up of it here so you can see how well of a job those masks did of really keeping that area nice and clean for me. So in the stamp set, it says "Brewed Just For You" is one of the sentiments, which is just so cute. So I went ahead and loaded up that panel that I colored into my MISTI, went ahead and placed down my sentiment. I'm inking it up with some Simon Says Stamp black dye ink, and I just stamped that right below all the bottles. There you can see on the back side, I tried to stamp without my little pencil line, and it just went completely wrong. So a little pencil line will really help in the long run. But to put this card together, I am just putting some fun foam on the back of that panel. I'm using double-sided adhesive on both sides. I'll go ahead and peel off that backing paper and just place this onto a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 top folding white note card that I made myself. Now this is a mix of Pretty Pink Posh sequins. It's the Halloween mix, and I am just going to place down several of the sequins from that mix. There's black, orange, gray, and some of the marshmallow sequins as well. And I am just using glossy accents to secure them, and my Quick Sticks tool, as you know, helps me put them down without my big bulky fingers getting in the way and getting glue everywhere. Now I ordered this Halloween mix last year, but I had quite a bit left over, so I just saved it. I'm not going to let things go to waste, and I also, just because something isn't available, I stop using it. I'm not that kind of card maker. But if it's not available anymore, I will leave individual links, if it's possible, to the individual colors that are in this mix. I try to, if I use something that's not available, I try to give you guys pretty similar alternatives always, that are always posted over on my blog. Now to finish off this card, I am just going to use that Wink of Stella clear glitter brush pen, and I am just putting a nice layer of that over the liquid in both the flasks. And there's just 2 of the liquids, so very simple and very quick and easy to put this on. And that will finish off the card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Make a Card video, and I hope I have inspired you to pull out some of your supplies and make a card as well. As always, I will leave you guys with a close-up and just a few pictures. For more information and the supply list, you can head to my blog, craftingwhilecaffeinated.wordpress.com. The link is in the description box below, as well as that I in the top right hand corner. That will get you there too. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and happy crafting!